To a news alert in Hall County. We're getting a look at the surveillance video of a shooting in a convenience store. Investigators say a woman was shot and killed last night by her former live-in boyfriend.
She was in a relationship that she was trying to exit from.
Hall County Sheriff's Office says the woman, who was from Oakwood, left the store and returned to her car. The ex-boyfriend was waiting in the car and shot her. The victim, Keith, was able to return into the store. The sheriff's office says the gunman followed her and shot her again.
I want to tell women out there who are in relationships and they're not healthy to get away.
This right here is 44-year-old Keith. Her final moments captured on surveillance video inside of a convenience store. Police say her ex-boyfriend killed her in the store in Gainesville. And those who knew her say she was a devoted daughter, successful business owner, and someone who touched countless lives.
9:30 p.m. A quiet parking lot outside a small convenience store in Oakwood, Georgia. A woman walks out, purchase in hand, heading back to her car after a routine stop. She climbs in, ready to drive home. But someone is already sitting in her passenger seat. Gunfire erupts inside the vehicle. She's hit once, twice more. Somehow she finds the strength to force the door open and stumble out, running for the only shelter she can see, the store she just left. She doesn't make it far. The person who shot her follows her through the front door. A clerk and a customer are inside, diving for cover, dialing 911 with shaking hands. More shots ring out. By the time deputies arrive, she's gone, collapsed on the very floor she'd walked across minutes earlier as a living, breathing person with a life, a business, and people who loved her. Investigators would later say this wasn't random. She was targeted, and the person who pulled the trigger wasn't a stranger. It was someone she used to share a home with. Who was she? And why couldn't she escape him, even in a room full of witnesses? Welcome back to Real Crime Stories. If you're new here, this is where we dig into real crime stories. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next in this case. Before she was a headline, before her name appeared in a sheriff's press release, Vidon Keith was simply a woman building something of her own. She'd arrived in Hall County fresh out of high school, carrying a dream that felt almost stubborn in its clarity. She wanted to own a salon, not work in one, own one. And she did it. Friends describe her as warm, funny, magnetic, the kind of presence that made a chair in her shop feel like a seat at a kitchen table. Clients came for braids and locks, but they stayed for her. Her cousin would later say Tia had a heart people remembered long after the appointment ended. By all accounts, she was thriving, independent, respected in her community, a businesswoman who'd carved out stability through nothing but grit. But behind the confidence, something darker had taken root. For a period of her life, Tia shared a home with a man, a partner who, from the outside, may have looked like just another relationship. Ordinary, unremarkable. It wasn't. Have you ever watched someone you love stay quiet about something clearly wrong, sensing there's more beneath the surface than they're letting on? That's what people close to Tia experienced. Something felt off. Tension simmered beneath the surface of the relationship, the kind that rarely announces itself loudly until it's too late. Eventually, Tia made a decision. She chose to leave. According to family, she was actively working to exit what they later called an unhealthy dynamic. Ending a live-in relationship isn't simple, untangling shared space, shared routines, shared history. But Tia pushed forward anyway, prioritizing her own safety and peace. What nobody around her fully grasped was how far her former partner intended to go. July 16th began like countless evenings before it. Ordinary errands, small tasks, nothing suggesting tragedy loomed. Tia made her way towards Subhanallah Food Mart, a modest convenience store along Mountain View Road, a place she'd likely passed 100 times without incident. She walked inside just after 9:30, grabbed what she needed, and approached the register like anyone running a quick errand after dark. Nothing about the moment hinted at danger. Surveillance cameras captured her final ordinary minutes, mundane, unremarkable footage that would later become chilling evidence in a homicide investigation. She paid, she exited. She walked toward her vehicle, keys likely already in hand, mind probably drifting toward home, toward rest, toward whatever came next in her evening. She had no way of knowing someone was waiting. Sitting inside her own car in her passenger seat was her former live-in boyfriend, the man she'd worked so hard to distance herself from. Picture that moment, the unlocking door, the instinctive step forward, and then recognition followed immediately by fear. Investigators haven't disclosed exactly what words, if any, passed between them in those final seconds. What we do know is chilling in its simplicity. Gunfire erupted almost immediately. Multiple shots rang out inside that vehicle, shattering whatever calm remained of Tia's evening. Somehow, through sheer will, adrenaline, or desperate instinct, she survived those initial rounds long enough to force herself free from the car. Wounded, terrified, she ran, not toward open road, not toward escape into darkness. She sprinted toward the only refuge visible, the store she just left minutes earlier, believing perhaps that witnesses, cameras, or simple public presence might offer protection. It's a decision echoed throughout countless domestic violence cases, survivors instinctively seeking visibility, believing danger diminishes under watchful eyes. Tragically, that instinct wouldn't save her, because he followed. And that's where we'll pick up next, inside those final, devastating moments and everything investigators uncovered afterward. Inside Subhanallah Food Mart, two people stood behind the counter that night, unaware their ordinary Thursday shift was about to become something they'd never forget. A clerk, a customer, two witnesses to what happened next. The front door burst open. Tia stumbled through, blood already staining her clothing, desperation etched across features moments earlier calm and unbothered. She'd made it this far. She'd survived the car. Maybe, just maybe, safety existed within these walls. But he wasn't finished. Behind her, moving with terrifying purpose, came the man who'd already pulled a trigger once that evening. Crossing the threshold uninvited, weapon still raised, intent unmistakable. Ask yourself, what would you do, frozen behind a register, watching violence spill from parking lot into workplace? The clerk and customer dove for cover, scrambling toward whatever shelter aisles and shelving could provide. Fear consuming rational thought, survival instincts overriding everything else. Amid chaos, someone managed something extraordinary, reaching for a phone, dialing 3 numbers that might summon help before it became too late. 9:40 p.m. Dispatch received frantic pleas describing gunfire inside a public business, panic evident through every word relayed. Meanwhile, feet away, Tia's ordeal continued unfolding. Having escaped one assault only to face a second, she found herself cornered again, this time within a space offering fewer options, tighter confines, nowhere left to run. Additional shots pierced the air. Investigators would later confirm she collapsed onto that store floor, life slipping away amid fluorescent lighting and snack aisles, never meant to witness such horror. By the time emergency responders arrived, moments after dispatch relayed coordinates, Tia had already succumbed to her injuries. She died exactly where countless customers had walked past her hours earlier, never imagining tragedy awaited someone so full of ambition, kindness, warmth. Remarkably, neither the clerk nor customer sustained physical injuries throughout this ordeal, though psychological scars from witnessing such brutality likely linger far longer than any bullet wound could. As deputies secured the scene, processing evidence amid chaos, one crucial detail became immediately apparent. The shooter had fled. He'd exited the same door moments earlier breached during pursuit, climbing into his own vehicle, disappearing into darkness before responding units arrived. What followed was an intense, coordinated search stretching across jurisdictions. Investigators recovered his vehicle relatively quickly, offering initial hope his capture loomed near. Yet locating the man himself proved far more elusive. A search warrant executed at a residence in Metro Atlanta yielded additional evidence, painting clearer pictures of events leading toward that fateful encounter, though authorities remained tight-lipped regarding specifics, unwilling to compromise their ongoing investigation. Meanwhile, community members grappled with devastating loss. Friends flooded social media, sharing memories, photographs, tributes honoring someone described repeatedly as bright, generous, hardworking. Clients recalled braiding sessions filled with laughter. Neighbors remembered small kindnesses extended without hesitation. Her cousin, speaking through visible grief, offered words meant for anyone watching who might recognize similar warning signs within their own relationships. Recognize danger early, prioritize safety, remove yourself before circumstances escalate beyond control. It's a message echoing far beyond this single tragedy. Applicable, urgent, worth remembering regardless of where you're watching from tonight. Meanwhile, authorities intensified efforts toward locating their suspect. Description details emerged publicly. Distinctive markings including bold lettering tattooed across his neck, alongside a noticeable physical characteristic, a prosthetic replacing part of his lower leg. Officials labeled him armed, dangerous, urging anyone possessing information toward immediate contact with law enforcement. Days passed. Tips trickled in. Multiple agencies, local, state, federal, combined resources toward locating someone determined to avoid capture. Would he be found before striking again? Would justice reach him before he vanished entirely? 7 days. That's how long Antwain Sintel Thurmond remained free after allegedly ending Vidon Keith's life inside that Oakwood convenience store. 7 days of uncertainty for a community desperate for closure. 7 days of investigators piecing together fragments, surveillance angles, digital footprints, whispered tips, hoping something would crack the case wide open. Multiple agencies joined forces almost immediately. The Hall County Sheriff's Office led coordination efforts, but reinforcements arrived quickly. The FBI's Safe Streets Task Force, Georgia's Bureau of Investigation, state community supervision officers, plus specialized units from Richmond County. Rarely does a single homicide investigation draw such extensive collaboration this fast. Why? Because Thurmond wasn't simply a person of interest. Authorities considered him actively dangerous, someone capable of violence toward anyone who crossed paths with him next. Have you ever wondered how someone evades capture despite widespread searches, wanted posters, public alerts circulating across every platform imaginable? Sometimes it's careful planning. Sometimes pure luck. Often, it's neither, just distance and time working temporarily in a fugitive's favor. For nearly a week, Thurmond managed exactly that. Investigators tracked movement through Metro Atlanta initially, executing search warrants, gathering evidence connected toward events preceding Tia's murder. Yet despite mounting pressure, his exact location remained frustratingly unclear. Until Thursday afternoon. Task Force members finally zeroed in on Augusta, specifically, a modest room inside Studio 6 Motel along Wrightsboro Road. Whether through surveillance, informant tips, or meticulous digital tracing, authorities pinpointed precisely where their suspect had been hiding. At 4:10 p.m., specialized teams assigned through Richmond County's Sheriff's Office approached quietly, methodically. Inside, alone, unaware capture loomed just beyond his door, sat Thurmond. Officers moved decisively. Remarkably, despite earlier warnings labeling him armed and extremely hazardous, his arrest unfolded without incident. No struggle, no further violence, just quiet, controlled apprehension ending a manhunt that had gripped North Georgia for days. News spread rapidly once confirmation emerged. The man accused of chasing Tia through a parking lot, then again through store aisles, finally faced accountability. Initially held within Richmond County's custody, Thurmond was later transported back toward Hall County, where formal charges awaited: malice murder, felony murder, plus aggravated assault classified specifically under Georgia's Family Violence Act. Each charge carrying weight, consequence, potential decades behind bars should conviction follow. For Tia's family, arrest offered something resembling relief, though nothing resembling true resolution. No verdict undoes loss. No sentencing restores laughter shared during salon appointments, memories created through years of friendship, warmth extended toward strangers who became regular clients. Still, accountability matters. Her cousin's earlier plea resonates even louder now. Recognize danger, trust instinct, prioritize safety above comfort or familiarity. Relationships shouldn't require escape plans. Home shouldn't double as danger. Tia tried. She left. She pursued independence, safety, a future built entirely on her own terms. Yet distance alone couldn't guarantee protection from someone determined toward violence. As of now, Thurmond remains held within Hall County Jail, awaiting proceedings that will unfold through Georgia's court system in coming months. Whether additional details emerge, motive specifics, prior incidents, deeper context surrounding their relationship, remains uncertain. Investigations often reveal more as legal processes progress. What remains certain, however, is this: Tia Vidon Keith deserved better. She deserved safety inside her own vehicle. She deserved refuge inside a public store. She deserved a future extending far beyond July 16th. Her memory now lives through everyone she touched: clients, friends, family members determined toward honoring her spirit rather than allowing tragedy alone toward defining her legacy. If cases like this move you toward awareness, toward recognizing warning signs within your own circles, consider that the greatest tribute anyone can offer victims like Tia is simply this: paying attention, believing survivors, acting swiftly when instinct whispers something's wrong. Thank you for watching this case unfold alongside me tonight. If stories like Tia's resonate deeply, make sure you subscribe, because there's always another case, another story, another life worth remembering here on this channel.